For Sentinel.com, this is Ira Winderman with your latest Ask Ira Miami Heat mailbag. Our first question today comes from Jason in Elkins, West Virginia, who asks if there's any chance for the Heat to put together a package to trade for Russell Westbrook before free agency in 2017. He said it would be logical because the Heat would be able to show Westbrook the kind of franchise they are, but he does note, would it be too many assets to give up ahead of time? Jason, this reminds me of what the Knicks tried with Carmelo Anthony in February 2011, when they refused to wait for free agency and instead gave up players such as Wilson Chandler, Danilo Gallinari, Raymond Felton, Timofey Mozgov, a 2014 first-round pick, and a 2016 costly first-round swap. For the Heat to even trade for Russell Westbrook, we're probably talking about immediately giving up Goran Dragic, Justice Winslow, and even then, would Westbrook want to come with a team that has given up assets to that degree? I think it's a real question. The one thing about Pat Riley is he has gotten commitments ahead of time from players he's traded for in these situations. Shaquille O'Neal and Alonzo Mourning both agreed they would re-sign with the Heat. It wouldn't make sense for Westbrook to do that the way the collective bargaining agreement is written. He gets more money by waiting for 2017 free agency. Perhaps the cult of Riley would be enough to keep him, but I think it would be a heck of a risk to give up anything for such a short-term rental. Our second question comes from Jeffrey, who said it looks like Danny Ainge and the Celtics are chasing the same players the Heat want, Russell Westbrook and Blake Griffin. Have the Celtics become more desirable than the Heat? I would look at it this way, Jeffrey. For all the draft picks that Danny Ainge has picked up over the years, it sure seemed like he couldn't trade them at this year's draft, so I wouldn't overstate them. And then when you look also at possibilities of playing alongside quality players, you're saying with the Celtics, it's basically Al Horford and Isaiah Thomas. With the Heat, Hassan Whiteside, and at least for the moment, Goran Dragic. As for the rest of the Celtics young players, it sure seems at one point that Danny Ainge was willing to give them all up for Justice Winslow. So while the Celtics definitely are stronger with Al Horford, I don't know if that puts them in the ultimate position looking ahead to 2017 free agency. And our last question today comes from Dallas in Staten Island, who says, now that Dwayne Wade is gone, will this become more of Goran Dragic's team? Well aware that the two never really fit in quite as well. Could the chemistry be better? Dallas, I'd answer that question by saying I have no idea about the chemistry because I have no idea about the players. That's what Eric Spoelstra is going to have to find out about in training camp when you bring in this many new faces. But I do agree, it was somewhat of a charade to pretend that Goran and Dwayne and their styles meshed. They did not. Goran too often standing in the corner, Dwayne Wade, and rightfully so, taking control of the ball at the end of games. With everything that's gone on to this point, Chris Bosh's illnesses, not knowing having certain players at certain points, the Heat even being willing apparently to trade Goran when they were going to try to make their play for Kevin Durant. Goran has never really had that moment that the Heat have said, this is your team. That moment could be at hand, and it could go a long ways toward determining the exact value that the Heat see in Goran Dragic. Those are today's three questions. We'll be back tomorrow with three more. For SunSentinel.com, this is Ira Winderman.